discussion on old school vibes. Let's get interactive and get to know our old legends.
Drumming my pain with his finger.
Showing this on every Friday, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. and repeat on Saturdays at 3 to 4 p.m. on Clock TV. Old school vibe. Let's vibe with.
I just want to take a moment and thank everyone in law enforcement who helped us in the search for our beloved daughter.
There's no point hiding things from me.
You're psychic?
No, just paying attention. I've been watching you and your husband. I understand what you're feeling right now.
You have no idea.
I do. I know. Did you kill your daughter? How dare you? Did you kill your daughter? Jude, please. Honestly, it's not as bad as it looks.
Classic Red John smiley face. Drawn in the victim's blood. Gloves with 3 fingers of his right hand.
This isn't Red John. In all the previous killings, he made sure that the first thing that anyone sees is the face on the wall. Then, and only then, do you see the body of the victim.
I need my gun, Kane. I need the gun. You will have the gun as soon.
I'm the big fat panda.
The whooshy finger hold. Oh, you know this hold.
Did not see that coming.
Choose someone.
Clog TV. Beyond the policy.
Ghana's year-on-year inflation rate decreased.
Good morning and welcome to the Business Update segment where we uncover latest trends in the world of business. I am Clement Yabankwe. Beginning with, according to the Ghana Statistical Service, Ghana's year-on-year inflation rate slightly dropped to 20.4% in August from 20.9% in July. This slight decrease was mainly driven by a reduction in food inflation, which fell to 19.1% from 20.1% the previous month.
Year-on-year inflation rate decreased for the 5th consecutive time, falling slightly to 20.4% in August from 20.9% in July, mainly due to lower food prices. According to Dr. Elim, the decline was driven by deflation in key food categories such as milk, oils, fats, and fruits and nuts.
For the second consecutive 2024, this means that for the second successive time, we see a decline in overall year-on-year inflation. Over the 13-month period between August 2023 and August 2024, inflation has almost been halved as it stood at 40.1% in August 2023, decreasing through to 20.4% in August 2024.
In July 2024, the reports revealed that inflation on imported items increased to 16.1% from 15.6%. However, inflation on locally produced items saw some decline in 22.2% in August from 23.3% in July 2024. Housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuels recorded 31.8%, whereas restaurants and accommodation services recorded 29.5%.
Yes, in our second story, the Ghana Stock Exchange experienced notable growth in its fixed income market in August 2024, with a 236.02% increase in traded volume year over year, reaching 17.92 billion. This represented a 29.2% rise from July 2024. The total trading volume for the year reached 103.24 billion, a 99.47% increase compared to the previous year, following a period of reduced activity due to the domestic debt exchange program. Thank you so much for staying with us for the Business Update segment. This is all we have for you. I believe you really enjoyed. Stay tuned and enjoy the main discussion with Beatrice Bampoe-Addo and her guest. I am Clement Yabankwe. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Clog TV, Beyond the Policy.
I just want to take a moment and thank everyone in law enforcement who helped us in the search for our beloved daughter.
There's no point hiding things from me.
You're psychic?
No, just paying attention. I've been watching you and your husband. I understand what you're feeling right now.
You have no idea.
I do. I know. Did you kill your daughter? How dare you? Did you kill your daughter? Jude, please. Honestly, it's not as bad as it looks.
Classic Red John smiley face. Drawn in the victim's blood. Gloves with 3 fingers of his right hand.
This isn't Red John. In all the previous killings, he made sure that the first thing that anyone sees is the face on the wall. Then, and only then, do you see the body of the victim.
Come on, Andy!
Switch.
Switch.
I know how complicated this delivery could get.
Well, I'm gonna need everyone in this room to believe me when I say that only good things are gonna happen here today. I want you to know it.
36 years ago, you left me at the front door of a fire station. I'm your biological son. If you think I'm gonna forgive you,
I don't.
Screw you. You wanna meet your grandchildren?
He is looking good.
He's not right.
Your wife is in distress, Jack.
Do you remember what Dad used to say?
Go see your babies. They're excited to meet their father.
You send the mix.
Join me, Oliver Beverly, and Edna Watson on Old School Vibe. Let's get interactive and get to know our old legends.
Drumming my pain with his finger. Exciting.
Showing this on every Friday, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. and repeat on Saturdays at 3 to 4 p.m. on Clock TV. Old School Vibe. Let's vibe with the legends.
I'm the big fat panda.
The whooshy finger hold. Oh, you know this hold. Did not see that coming.
Choose someone else.
When you lose your virginity, you can't ever go back.
Jane made a promise.
Stop! We should stop. You've been dating for 2 years and you haven't boned.
But sometimes life... You're pregnant.
But I've never had sex.
...makes a surprise delivery.
I accidentally inseminated you 2 weeks ago.
You what?
I'm not ready to be a mom.
You have become the best part of my life, and this will be the best part of your life, too.
Jane...
Clog TV. Beyond the Policy.
Hi. Welcome to the main segment of Cocoa Digest Morning Show. We promise it's gonna be informative, educative, and interactive. Today we are talking about fire safety and preventive measures. There has been scenes of outbreaks of fire, and we are trying to ask, what's the problem? Who is at fault? Today we have a big person in our midst to help us address these, and he is in the person of Mr. Aka. He's from the Ghana National Fire Service. Hello, sir. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Good morning, and how are you doing?
By God's grace, we are fine.
Okay. For the sake of our viewers, can you introduce yourself?
Right. I am Division Officer Grade 2, Aka Desmond, the Head of Public Relations, Ghana National Fire Service.
So I told you, he's a big person. Yes, so talking about National Fire Service, what exactly is the role of Ghana National Fire Service?
Right, thank you very much for this opportunity. I must say a very good morning to your cherished viewers and listeners. A lot of Ghanaians do know Ghana National Fire Service as the leading institution with the sole mandate of fighting fires, but we do a lot more than just firefighting. Our act, which empowers us and gives us our mandate, basically ensures that we prevent undesired fires, and then also when it happens, we go in to save the lives of people who are affected and that of their properties. So basically, that is our objectives. So if it comes to the functions, what we do most is that we conduct public fire safety education. We go to schools, we go to churches, public places, our residential facilities to offer fire education to kind of bring Ghanaians up to speed as to what to do in order to prevent these fires. So aside the public education, we also train people and then ensure that they are taught or they are brought up to speed to know the role they are supposed to play. Okay. Because fire safety or fire prevention is not the sole responsibility of the Ghana National Fire Service. Individuals, as Ghanaians, as citizens, we also have roles to play. If we don't put our houses in order, the fires will occur, and then we will be at the losing end. So we bring people up to speed about their roles as well. Aside the public education, we also offer technical advice on building plans. You know, every building that is supposed to be put up in Ghana the drawings have to be submitted to us for us to give technical advice. So most often than not, we liaise with developers, people who are putting up either residential, public places, or private commercial property to bring their fire plans, their drawings. When they submit their drawings, we give them advice pertaining to how the design is supposed to be to incorporate enough exit, to also incorporate widen escape routes, and then also take into consideration fire resistance material, as well as the protective provisions that will be put in place in the building. So the design should be, let's say, disabled friendly, because we can be able today, tomorrow we will be, let's say, be disabled. We may not be able to walk, visually impaired, or we have hearing problem. So the design should conform to all these things, so that in case there is any emergency, be it fire or other life-threatening emergency, the design of the building should be able to facilitate easy escape of occupants, being able or disabled. And then also, we advise for people to go in for resistant materials. There are several of them. Some can resist fires up to 30 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours. So the more resistivity or the resistance opposed to fire, the higher the cost. So when you come, we give you all these things. And some few years back, you would hear that family of about 5, they've got trapped in fire and have died and all that. It's all because of thieves. We are afraid of thieves at the expense of our personal safety. So we advise on the use of collapsible exits, doors, and burglar proofing and all that, so that in case of fire, you wouldn't be trapped, but you will find a way to escape with your family. So these are by way of the technical advice we give on people submitting their drawings to us. Apart from that, we also give technical advice on fire extinguishers. We have a lot of fire extinguishers. When you come, we assess your place, and then we know the risk levels there. Then we recommend the specific type that would help you be able to deal with fires when they occur, whether it is residential, office space, commercial, or whatever. And then our vehicles as well. So that is the third aspect. Then the fourth aspect is we also offer rescue and evacuation services. That is whereby in recent times, especially in Ashanti region, we have attended to a number of rescue cases where people would have their legs entrapped in gutters and other spaces such as that. So when it happens like that, we want the general public not to force the person's leg out of the grating, metal grating or concrete slab. Just call us. We have the extrication tools to either ram or to cut or to open the space, just to free the person whose leg has been entrapped. When people fall in well, it is our mandate to come and then rescue them.
So there are trainings on this?
Yes, that is part of our training. So we have divers and people who are well equipped in terms of getting into deep waters and all that to help people or to save lives from such situations. And then also, if, let's say, we also do some confined space duties. For instance, somebody may have a filling station. Maybe the underground tank, they need to decommission it to get rid of the contents there. So if you call on us, we have the equipment to go in there and to help decontaminate or decommission that kind of environment. So that is a bit of that. Apart from that, we are also mandated to train all institutions, workers and staff of other institutions in this country. So as part of that, we issue fire certificates, and it's a requirement that every year the certificate is renewed. And before it is renewed, we conduct training for you, so that people within that building will familiarize themselves with the alarm system, the evacuation procedure, the fire extinguishers and all that, how to use them to be able to deal with fires at their nascent or initial stages. So basically that is what we do. Apart from the training of institutions, we are also mandated to train community fire volunteers. So here we have two types of volunteers. We have the residential volunteers, and then we have our farming community volunteers. But as a service, over the years, we have concentrated in safeguarding our environment, especially the natural vegetation. So as we speak now, as at last year, we have trained over 6,000 community farming volunteers to be able to help safeguard our plantation, our farmlands, and what have you from bushfires. Because apart from domestic fires, one other fire type that also we record high numbers is the bushfires, which is now causing more harm than good. It is destroying our ozone layer. People are suffering from a lot of diseases and all that. And then also when we are supposed to receive rain, by this time we should be having a lot of rainfall. But since August up to just about 2 or 3 days ago, we had just had just one rain, and it's uncalled for. So our farming volunteers are there to safeguard our environment, our farmlands, and then the government flagship program for Planting for Food and Job, they are in touch with the farm hands to help them to build what we call fire belt, and then also to do what we call early or control burning. And that is what is really in our forest cover. Aside that too, we perform humanitarian functions. So by way of our humanitarian functions too, recently when the Akosombo Dam was spilled by VRA, it was our men at Mepe and then Bator area that had to move in to rescue people from their homes and then provide them with some form of comfort and ensure that they were provided with shelter, food, and what have you. But it's quite unfortunate, and clean potable water, even during the COVID era when President directed that we should provide Ghanaians, because of the lockdown, with clean potable water. We led the operations, and later on our other security services also came to join us. So that has been part of our humanitarian role since 1963, and we have lived to expectation with that. It's just unfortunate that our friends in the media do not highlight some of these things, so therefore a lot of Ghanaians do not know us for
that's why
that.
We've called you today to mention them, because aside firefighting, people don't know you have other roles playing. Yes, so talking about that, when you check statistics, records in the first quarter of 2024 is about 2,764,000 incidents of fire outbreak as compared to 2023, the same period. It's a bit higher than that of 20. What was the cause?
All right, before I answer that question too, apart from the other functions that I've mentioned, when it comes to national installations such as sports stadia, Valco, those big, highly risky areas, it's our responsibility to safeguard the place. So we go on some duties at VRA, this place, Valco, and the other places, just to ensure that.
So in a day, you deploy your workers to all these places you've mentioned?
Yes, we have some workers who are stationed there permanently, and then we rotate some of them too. You can't be there permanently.
I see.
You rotate them as and when required. So that is about that. And then also, when it comes to some national events, especially as we are waiting for this year's election. Yes, the police do not have the numbers, so we would also support them to be able to police the ballot. So Ghanaians know us for just firefighting. Firefighting is just about 2% of our job.
Oh, really?
That is when we interface with the public, and that is where we have a lot of challenges with them understanding what we do and all that.
Come to that.
Sure. So with the statistics, I would rather want to give you up-to-date statistics from January up to now.
Up to now.
As compared to that of same period last year.
Please go ahead.
We are doing a little over 4,000. But just that, if you compare last year to this year, the fires have gone up slightly, about 2.3%. It is all because we had harsh weather condition, especially within the first quarter of the year, and then from July through to August to first week in September.
Okay.
So we also experience a bit of drought. And anytime we have harsh weather by means of high temperatures and what have you, and drought, there is a lot of temperature. I mean, temperature go high, and then it makes a lot of fuels available. That is, it dries out the little moisture content in. You know, materials are generally hygroscopic. That is, they absorb a bit of moisture when it is raining.
Okay.
And then during the dry season, if the temperatures are high, they absorb the moisture and then makes them so susceptible to when it comes to contact with heat, it can easily generate fire. So that created a lot of bushfires, created a lot of imbalance in the natural environment, and therefore we recorded a lot of bushfires. But every year, if we look at the statistics, domestic fire outbreak continue to be our #1 lead cause, almost accounting for, let's say, almost 40% each year. So it means that there is something that we are all not doing right in our residential apartments or homes. And if you ask me the causes, they are generally grouped into about 4 or 5. Negligence, accident. We also have ignorance. That is where people hardly do not know anything about fire prevention and all that, and therefore they tend to be careless and all that. Apart from that, too, somebody may necessarily need to create fire, but through an accident, it will occur and affect somebody else. And then also, we also have deliberate acts. Some people, maybe if they want to settle some personal call, they set certain properties on fire and all that.
That's on a
Sometimes too, for insurance purposes, they do that. So we record such fires as well. And then we have the natural causes, which hardly do occur in our part of the world, but sometimes they do occur. Lightning strikes and what have you. So we recommend that buildings that are full of glasses, if let's say there's a rainstorm, lightning, thunderstorm, you don't have to be watching your TV, because if there's any lightning strike, it could be transmitted, the excess current could go through your antenna, through the coaxial cable to your TV set. So if your TV has not gotten the protection, it could lead to a fire outbreak. So generally, these are the types of the fire causes, but we can go into the specifics. Electrical faults also continues to bedevil us. If you look at the electrical faults as a cause of fire, I mean, it constitutes about, let's say, 65% for the fire types that we occur. Yes. So either it is happening as a result of faulty earth, or let's say an arc, or let's say a short circuit. So short circuit is such that, let's say, if there is a, how do you call it? You know, electricity have to always want to travel in a straight line. So if there is any breakage, they would have to find a way to jump, and that will create an arc. And so sometimes we have wiring done in a conduit. They are embedded in the building, so they are within the walls. So sometimes if you go to rent a place, maybe the homeowner will tell you that, hey, here, I don't need you to be putting nails on my walls and all that. Because anytime you pierce a nail through a wall, if there are conduit wiring there, it goes to pierce the cable. And with time, it will arc. There will be localized heating. And it can take 1 year to create that fire. Sometimes 2 years, depending on the sort of arcs that is able to create. Sometimes we tend to put wires under racks or carpets. And as we step on the insulation, it becomes hardened. And then they peel off, they expose the conductors, that is the metal in there that carries the electricity. And when it comes, or they get into contact with each other, they give sparks, and then they start the fire. And then sometimes too, we tend to be forgetful. We use our electrical device and we forget to turn them off. For instance, if there is any power outage and the power is restored, most often than not, they come with high voltage. And if our appliances are not protected by means of breakers, fuses, and what have you, they are able to bypass the appliance, create a lot of heat in the system, and then it results in the fire outbreak. And if there is also an earth fault, the current is supposed to go to ground. SS1 is supposed to go to ground. But because there is an issue, they are not able to enter the ground where it acts as a reservoir. And it returns into the circuitry. And, you know, it's like giving a 5-year-old a big pan of water to carry. I mean, it's too big for him or her, so you just throw it away. So when it happens like that, there is inrush of current, and that can create these fire outbreaks. So that is the electrical aspect. Sometimes too, we use, how do you call it, improper, let's say, rated materials like extension boards for some kind of, let's say, heating or whatever. So anytime you buy an electrical, let's say, an extension board, which is not properly rated for the kind of appliance or load that you are going to use on it, it will create a lot of heat in the system, and then fire will start. So we advise that wherever or anytime you are going to buy these gadgets, you look for the ones that can take the load that you are going to use for. So you go for 13 amp rated ones. It can take your water heater, it can take your rice cooker, it can take your electric fan, and then, how do you call it, electric stove, and then iron. Because anything less than 13 amperage extension board, when you plug the rice cooker or the how do you call it, the iron or the heater, it will generate a lot of heat, and then it will start melting, and fire could erupt as a result. So these are some of the things that we do that create these fire outbreaks with our electrical gadgets. And then also, we also have lights. That is matches, candles, lighters, and those things. We don't have to be careless when it comes to using them. So for instance, when we want to light up our gas stove, what we have to do is that we need to get a ceramic bowl or any metallic container, then fetch water in it.
Just like our forefathers used to do.
Yes, once we finish striking the match, instead of us throwing it straight into the dustbin, we should put it into the bowl of water just to ensure that it is totally out. Because sometimes if you have some combustible material in your dustbin, and then you throw the piece of match, which was not fully extinguished in there, it will smolder. Sometimes it takes a bit of time. Maybe at night when you are sleeping, the fire will start in your kitchen. You may not understand, thinking that some wizard or witch in your neighborhood is creating that. No, it is all through our negligence or our carelessness. So if we are able to take good care of, and then also when we light up our candles and mosquito coils, we are not supposed to place them on combustible surfaces like carpet, rugs, wooden center tables, and what have you. Some even place the candles on top of their wooden beds. So if you are not fortunate and you are sleeping and by chance your leg or your hand and then it falls on your bed, I mean, that is fire. Some also tend to smoke whilst in bed or in their sofa. Sometimes you may smoke, get tired, sleep off without extinguishing the cigarette butt. And that, when it gets into contact with this kind of foam or furniture, it will just smolder and then set the place ablaze. So these are some of the causes of these fires. If you go to the vehicular fires too, electrical faults, same. It follows. Sometimes we go and add other electrical devices like ghetto blasters in our vehicles and other additional lights. The moment you do that, you are adding more load to your system. And therefore, you should be able to buy fuses or cutout to be able to deal with that. But most often than not, we don't send our vehicles to professionals or experts. And then we send them to the roadside. They just connect the wires anyhow. And then before long, fires do occur. And the pathetic thing is that most vehicle owners do not even have effective fire extinguishers in their vehicles. We have seen a lot of vehicles gutted by fire, and they are helpless. And so these are some of the causes. Mechanical fault. A driver may want to start his car in the morning, will not even check whether the oil level is up to where it is supposed to, the water level. Then whilst driving, overheating would occur, then the fire would start. So these are some of the issues. So even in the natural environment, in the bush, we go there, we weed, instead of us to use maybe tractors or whatever, mechanized means to be able to do our farming, we tend to rely on fire as the cheapest and the most effective tool to use. And sometimes we are not careful to create fire belts. The fire will burn and extend to other farms and then destroy valuable crops and then even destroy habitats for other fauna and then flora as well. So these are some of the challenges that we have with these courses. And some too are deliberate, as I earlier on indicated.
Okay. So mentioning some of the fire outbreaks and their causes, can you tell us what we can do? Just give us some 1 or 2 points that would help someone at home, help someone in the workplace, and tell them what to do, please.
All right. So let me start off with what to do, especially in the kitchen. Those of us who have toddlers and we don't have doors to our kitchen, you know, such kids are so wonderful. They want to follow us. They are trying to walk, learn how to walk and talk and all that. So it is important that we get doors to our kitchen because that is the most dangerous place in our homes. So once you lock your door, it prevents them from having access to the gas stove, the knobs, the cylinder and all that, just to prevent them from tampering with it. So that is the first step. And then 2, we should have some demarcations in our kitchen so that there are certain points. At that point, no kid should be able to trespass. So that once you demarcate, you bring the family to the kitchen, then you inform everybody that from hence, all the kids are not supposed to move beyond this point. You can even use a tape or any kind of measurement or anything just to demarcate the place. It is a way of safeguarding their lives so that they will not have access to the matches, the lighters, and to play with it to create these fire situations in the kitchen. And then also, our gas cylinders, most often than not, they get empty. They are also a source of worry. They leak gases, especially when the valve is faulty, the regulator is faulty, or the tube has a puncture, or it has some holes in them, which would also definitely leak some gas. So the first point of call is to send it to the filling point. And before they fill it, let them check for leakages on the valve. So if it is the valve that is leaking the gas, quickly they change it for you. There is also a rubber seal within the valve. So we advise that at any refilling cycle, we need to let the attendant take off the rubber seal and replace it with a new one. Yes, that is very important because when they get hardened or they get some cracks in there, that is where the gas begins to leak. And then also, if our regulator is faulty, we should ensure that we buy new ones and then replace the old one with that. And then the tube that connects from the cylinder to the stove or to the burner, we need to do what we call periodic leakage tests. That one, we make a simple soapy solution. Then we open from the cylinder. So as the gas rushes through the tube, we dip the tube into the soapy solution. So anytime it bubbles, you see bubbles coming, that means that there's a puncture or there's a hole along the tube. That should call for its replacement. And then also when we are using the cylinder, we should ensure that if we have space and we need to, we can put them outside the kitchen. Let's do it. If we don't have space and we have to contend with just a small space too, we should ensure that there is enough ventilation around before we cook. And then we ensure that when it is cool, then we disconnect and then make sure that there is no leakage before we store them in our rooms. And then when we are putting them outside too, we should ensure not to leave them under the mercy of the weather. Because once they are exposed to the sunlight, heat will be generated, the gas molecules will get to expand. And once they expand, they'll be looking for the weakest point within the cylinder to escape. And the moment they find one, they will escape by means of explosion. And many a times it has led to injuries and sometimes to death. So we plead with Ghanaians that please, if you are putting your gas cylinder outside, make sure they are properly safeguarded. At least if they are in a, how do you call it, in a cage, sort of, that has a lot of air. that when it rains, the raindrops or the moisture will not get access. I mean, the place is so, how do you call it, has a lot of air, so that even if there's leakage, the air will neutralize it and it will not create any problem. When we go to the filling point and we are bringing them to, at least we should have about 2 cylinders in our homes, so that if one is exhausted, we take it and we fill it and we bring it, store it in a cool, dry place. And we shouldn't store it, let's say, in a heated environment. Wherever we are putting our filled cylinder should be a space with enough air around, so that in case of any leakage, there will be neutralization. So apart from that too, we should also ensure that there are some appliances that do not necessarily need us to put them off, like our fridges, how do you call it, freezers and what have you. So these appliances are high consuming appliances. They consume a lot of energy, and therefore periodically we should put them off, let them defrost. We should not use Contiba and then other things to just remove the ice from it. Just put them off, allow it to just melt. You can even open it so that air would enter and then it will melt gradually. And then we should be able to assess the plugs, the prongs on the plugs of these electrical gadgets to check if there is any form of discoloration. Sometimes if the color changes from the usual, it means that something is wrong somewhere. So quickly you contact your certified competent electrical contractor or installer to get it fixed for you. And then also, I've talked about the extension boards. We should buy the ones that are properly rated for our appliances. So for instance, the extension board was created or was made for us to use it temporarily, where we do not have access to electricity, so that we can extend electricity there. When we finish, it should be disconnected. We should not use our extension board continuously for a longer period of time. That is not the use of that. So we should ensure that.
Go for break. Please don't go anywhere. We are getting educated and we'll be right back.
Clog TV, Beyond the Policy.
Jane, when you lose your virginity, you can't ever go back.
Jane made a promise.
Stop! We should stop! You've been dating for 2 years and you haven't boned.
But sometimes life...
You're pregnant.
But I've never had sex!
...makes a surprise delivery.
I accidentally inseminated you 2 weeks ago.
You what? I'm not ready to be a mom.
You have become the best part of my life, and this will be the best part of your life too.
Jane.
I just want to take a moment and thank everyone in law enforcement who helped us in the search for our beloved daughter.
There's no point hiding things from me.
You're psychic?
No, just paying attention. I've been watching you and your husband. I understand what you're feeling right now.
You have no idea.
I do. I know. Did you kill your daughter? How dare you?
Did you kill your daughter?
Jude, please. Honestly, it's not as bad as it looks. Classic Red John smiley face. Drawn in the victim's blood. Gloves with 3 fingers of his right hand. This isn't Red John. In all the previous killings, he made sure that the first thing that anyone sees is the face on the wall. Then, and only then, do you see the body of the victim.
Come on, Andy!
Switch.
Switch.
I know how complicated this delivery could get.
Well, I'm gonna need everyone in this room to believe me when I say that only good things are gonna happen here today. I want you to know it.
36 years ago, you left me at the front door of a fire station. I'm your biological son. If you think I'm gonna forgive you,
I don't.
Screw you. You wanna meet your grandchildren?
He is looking good.
He's not right.
Your wife is in distress, Jack.
Do you remember what Dad used to say?
Go see your babies. They're excited to meet their father.
My love.
Clog TV. Beyond the Policy.
Hi. If you just joined us, we are talking about fire safety and preventive measures here on Cocoa Digest, your #1 educative, informative, and interactive morning show on Clog TV. We are speaking to the head of public relations in the person of Mr. Desmond Aka. Hi, sir.
Hi.
So we were discussing about some of the causes of fire outbreak in our homes. I see fire outbreak in our marketplaces are rampant, and every fire outbreak fighting, you talk about investigation to see what's the cause of the outbreak. What have you seen so far in our marketplaces?
All right. Every fire that we have attended as a service, after firefighting, we do a comprehensive investigation and submit reports to the affected person who puts in requests. And so for all the market fires that we've attended to, the markets too, they have managers, they belong to the assemblies. And at any point in time, when we are done with our investigations, we submit the reports to them. But what runs through the causes of these fires, one, illegal connection, and then overloading. You go to certain markets, you realize that people have connected their wiring from all manner of sources, and these connections do not help. They rather tend to create either short circuits or arc faults, and very soon they lead to these fires, these rampant fires. So I think we make recommendations to the assemblies, and we expect that since they are the custodian of this market, they take tolls and benefit from the market. Aside everybody, the owners relies on them to ensure that these illegal connections are dealt with. You go to certain markets, let's say about 5 shops or 10 shops will be hooked onto just 1 meter, which is also not a good sign. I mean, there is so much load in there. A lot of people are consuming power at the expense of the system, and it brings a lot of heat in the circuitry, and these also lead to these fires. Another cause of these market fires is also poor housekeeping. They tend to overload their stores with wares. Sometimes there are certain wares, if you put them in such a manner where there is lack of ventilation, it can self-ignite. Yes, and some of these fires too have been caused as a result. And because there is also congestion in our market, sometimes too, it forces the market managers not to adhere to the segregation of wares. So you go to market, I mean, for a particular lane, you could see all manner of things being sold there. So if there is a fire in one shop, because let's say the first shop deals in maybe oil and other consumables, the next shop may be clothes and what have you.
Yes.
So the combustibility of these materials are high, and therefore it helps to spread the fire easily. And because some of them use their shops as warehouses too, it makes the fire stay there and burn until every available fuel burns. That is why the Zongo fire, it took us 1 week to be able to deal with it.
Okay.
Because the shops have been practically been turned into warehouses. Everywhere has been packed with mattresses, plastic material, shoes, bags, and what have you.
Yeah.
And therefore, it's very difficult to contain such fires. Okay. And then there have been some few occasions where we've recorded arson, where people have deliberately, somebody has gone for loan, has gone to stock the store or the shop, is not able to get the money to go and pay. And as a result, he set the place ablaze. So that
really?
if you come to harass him or her, my things are bent. So what can you do? So we've had cause to do that. So the other thing too has to do with poor housekeeping. If you go to some of the markets, because they don't keep the place so tidied up, I mean, you would realize some rats which are so fat. They are mice, but they've grown into rats. So it tells us that the housekeeping there is very poor.
Okay.
I mean, they have food, enough food to eat. Yeah. And they are sometimes, when they are trying to gestate, like give birth to their young ones, they chew the insulation around or on the cables. Okay. And they easily make the cables bare. Okay. And sometimes they create short circuits, and then it leads to some of these market fires. And there are market fires too, which are caused by, let's say, as a result of the non-segregation of waste. I think the last time this KGTR new market burnt.
Exactly.
Yes, the fire was caused as a result of somebody cooking in the shop.
In the market?
And then left the shop to go for an errand. Oh. And then the fire broke out. And because the people around, the person was also selling other hardware material like carbide, calcium carbide. So the only thing that will come to mind is that, oh, if it is fire, let's put water on it. Not knowing that there was calcium carbide in the shop. So the moment they poured the water, with a mind to extinguish the fire, it rather escalated the fire. Oh. And about 250 shops got burnt. So we would always advise for the market to be well segregated, so that we should have lanes for hardwares, we should have lanes for people who deal in fabrics, clothes, and what have you, and all other kinds of, so that if there is any fire, the spread could be checked as soon as possible. Okay. But if you mix them together, they become a mixed cargo. Okay. And when it becomes a mixed cargo fire, because different material, different fuels are at play, they react violently, and then they make the fire grow out of proportion, and it makes our work difficult.
So talking about quenching of fire, so now I know that it's not every fire you have to use water to quench.
Sure.
So what do you say on this?
Yes, we have about 5 extinguishing medium. Okay. Water is the cheapest and commonest, and therefore, because of its property, it is widely used for fire extinguishing. There are also 4 types of fires. The Class A fire, which involves like carpet, clothes, furniture, wood, plastic. That one you can easily use water. Okay. Paper fire, you can use water. But there are fires like electrical systems. Like, let's say if the air conditioner is on fire, it is not advisable to use water because there's power in there. Okay. And water and electricity, they are a good conductor. So once you pour water on it, you may be electrocuted. So we advise that you go to the main switch or the power source, you put it off before you apply water. Okay. And then we also have the carbon dioxide water, the one that they use for our soft drinks, carbonated drinks. Okay. The carbon dioxide in there is able to displace oxygen. It is heavier than oxygen, and therefore it is able to displace or cover oxygen, and then the fire will be able to die out. Okay. Apart from that, we also have the ABC extinguisher, that is dry chemical powder. It is also very potent to deal with about 3 classes, Class A, Class B, Class C. Gaseous fires, that is fires involving your gas and all that. Fires involving liquid fuels like petrol, diesel. Okay. It is also able to do. Then we have foam chemical compound, which is also able to deal with Class B fires, that is diesel, petrol, alcohol. Okay. That is able to be able to deal with that. So it is not only water, but we have foam, we have powder, dry chemical powder, and then CO2. We also have the halogens. But because they are also not environmentally friendly, we are phasing them out. And then we have other components. They come in the form of inert gases. So for a server room, for a risky area, confined space, then we put them there so that if there is any fire, it is able to deploy, and then it suffocates the fire from oxygen, and then the fire dies out.
All right, so there are some misconceptions when it comes to firefighting by the Ghana National Fire Service. They talk about ill personnel's training or preparations. They talk about inadequate equipment. Are there challenges in the Ghana National Fire Service?
Yes, just like any other institution, we don't have it all. What we have is what we are using to serve the good people of this country. And therefore, we've made our challenges known to Ghanaians as well as government. And the good news now is that government is in the process of securing us state-of-the-art equipment to be able to serve our mandate. So as we wait on government, I can only appeal to the good people of Ghana to also come to our aid. If you go to our regions now, we have just one utility vehicle that is used as an educational van that serves the whole region. I mean, it is woefully inadequate. So if you can supply us, or you can donate some pickups, you can donate some motorbikes, you can donate some, I mean, all other kinds of vehicle where we can mount some PA system and then distribute to all our district stations. I mean, it will go a long way to educate Ghanaians, to make them responsible fire safety ambassadors. And once they become that, they prevent fires. Yes, because when the fires do occur, it is we, the ordinary people, that are affected most.
Remember, I've called the fire service twice. The first one, they came and quenched the fire. The second one, by the time they came, the fire was already quenched by the people, as you rightly said. So, but why must they come to the scene if the fire is quenched? What is their role after the fire is quenched?
Yes, for every fire, the ideal situation is that you call the fire service. Because one, we need to be able to assess the situation, what led to the fire, investigate it, and then it becomes an output for another department within our setup. So that whatever caused the fire, they would rather tell the proponent or the affected person or the property owner. But we need the cause to be able to educate Ghanaians. So that is why we need to be there even after the fire has been extinguished. So the statistics that I gave you, about 30% of the fires that we attend are extinguished by Ghanaians. It is telling us that our education, our public safety campaigns that we have been doing over the years is yielding results. And we want to commend Ghanaians for that. And we want you to keep it up. I mean, all the things that we've been telling you over the years, keep them at heart and ensure that you put them into practice so that the fires do not occur. So our doors are open to always receive them, to train them on the use of extinguishers and then how to combat fires as soon as they occur. The caveat here is that you are better able to deal with fire situations as soon as you see it. When you wait for it to get out of hand, then it becomes very difficult, because there the dynamics becomes different. So the misconception, they are so much. And I believe it is high time our friends in the media also help us. It is, I always say that it is you, our friends in the media, who have been misinforming the ordinary Ghanaian. Sometimes you get to the fire scene and you care not to even find out who called the fire service. But they would rather tell you that, oh, we've been calling them for hours. We've been calling them for so many minutes now. They've not been coming. We want you to be asking them, okay, who called? Whose phone did you use to call? We want to see the call log. We want to see the actual time that you called and see even the minutes or the number of seconds that you even spoke with the call dispatchers or the call takers. It helps to debunk some of these things that, oh, we've called them, they are not coming. Because The moment we begin to say that, oh, the fire service is not serious, they are not responding to our emergency, it demoralizes the confidence of the ordinary Ghanaian in us. Yes. So that if there is any fire emergency that they think they will call us, they will know, because when we call them, they will delay, we will not even call. Yeah. And then things will get out of hand. Somebody may get injured, properties will be destroyed, even to the point of somebody losing their life in that emergency. So we ask and we plead with our friends in the media, please, when you get a chance to go to fire scenes, do us good by giving or questioning our accusers, people who always want to put us in a man. That, okay, you have called, we understand. Let us see the number that you called. Some of them do not even call us on our right number. Some will say, oh, we call them on 999, we call them on 333. That is not our emergency number. So in as much as we want them to know our emergency number, which is 112, that is a national emergency number. Okay. The 192 is our dedicated national emergency number. Okay. Any of these numbers can come. But sometimes, because of our own negative behavior towards the fire service, we tend to play pranks with these emergency lines.
So how often do you receive such prank calls?
I mean, it is rife. Just as at July, we had recorded over 600,000.
Wow.
Yes. July this year, as compared to last year, we had made a reduction of about just 2% or so. Wow. Even that is as a result of our intensified effort to just bring them up to speed about the dangers in the prank calls. Okay. The prank calls are such that it's like just using your normal mobile phone. If somebody is on the line and you've activated call waiting, and somebody is calling you, the person will see that you are talking to somebody. So until you finish talking with the person and hang up, the next person who wants to speak with you will not be able to get through. Okay. So as we are pranking, I mean, it denies genuine people the opportunity to be served. Okay. Sometimes they prank us and we dispatch our appliances to that hoax location. So there's no emergency. One, we have wasted resources in terms of fuel. There is also wear and tear on our appliances, which are even aged, that we are even looking for new ones. So in that case, it will also, assuming there's a prank and we have moved from the original location to another location and there is fire in the original location,
yes,
it means that we have to take another time to come there. By the time we come, a lot of things would have gone down the drain by the fire. So these are the negative impacts on the prank calls that we want Ghanaians to heed to and to stop pranking us. Apart from the pranking, they also accuse us that when we come, we don't come with water. We come to assess the fire before we go and then look for water. How can it be? How can it be? How can a farmer who is serious go to the farm without a cutlass? Then what are you going to do?
You are coming to check the scene and go back.
No, we don't do that. The issue is that our fire trucks, they come in different sizes, and each one has its own water carrying capacity. Some have bigger water capacity, others do have smaller water capacity. So when we come and the fire has gotten out of hand, the affected person wants us to use just 2 minutes to extinguish the fire. So in as much as we, the professional, we want to deal with the fire within the shortest possible time, we engage the pump to the fullest pressure. And within no time, the ones with no low water capacity will get exhausted within 5 minutes. Okay. So ideally, we are supposed to rely on water hydrants within our communities. But these hydrants are not all over our communities, and therefore, per the situation that Ghana Water is also facing, they are also not getting the required volumes of water to pump to serve all our communities. So they have told us, especially in Accra here, that they will ration water. So anytime they are rationing water in a community, and that place is affected, and we get to the community, because they are rationing water and the taps are not flowing, it means that the hydrants will not flow. So therefore, when we get our water exhausted, it means that we have to go and look for water. So the contingency has been that normally we would dispatch about 2 or 3 tenders. And then the first tender that would come, they would just relay the water into it. That is where they relay the water, after relaying the water, to go and replenish and come back to support, depending on the extent of the fire. Then they will say that, oh, they just came and they are leaving. They didn't come with water. They just
so
came to assess.
One incident that happened. You mean they were lying?
Oh,
because
my sister.
They said the Ghana National Fire Service personnel came there and said they were going back to bring the water tanker.
There's no truth in that.
There's no truth in that.
So the person who made the video was just misinforming us, and that is punishable by law.
Okay.
You see, they were called to attend to a single room fire.
Okay.
So when they went there, the fire was already out of hand. So quickly they had to put it out. So when they finished putting it out, the fire extended into an adjoining building.
Okay.
But at that time, they had exhausted their water. So the officer directed that they go replenish and come, whilst he called 2 additional tenders to come and augment with firefighting. But you know, last week, the whole of last week, we were fighting the Zongo Lane fire.
Yes.
So most of the tenders were at Zongo Lane. So we had to dispatch 2 additional tenders from the Zongo Lane. So whilst they're assessing the situation and waiting for backup, the people got infuriated and then began to assault them physically and then verbally. And then it degenerated into the unfortunate attack, which we are going to follow it to the latter and ensure that justice will be served to our officers. I mean, it is very unlawful. Nobody has the right to attack any fire officer who is performing his or her lawful duty. It is against the law. And management, per our release, we are going to ensure that we take strict legal action against anybody who assaults any firefighter. Something happened last week, Tuesday, at Labadi, when our men were replenishing, and a taxi driver, a trotro driver, and his mate also engaged our men in altercation, and they ended up injuring our man, one of our officers, who has, as at yesterday, underwent a surgery on his ankle. Yes. So they were arrested and granted bail last Monday. Are waiting for the second hearing on 20th October next month. So we are praying and hoping that we will seek justice, and that is going to continue. If the attacks continue, what would happen is that whenever there is any fire, that we believe that the people there are hooligans will not come.
Oh, please.
Because we know that they are capable of extinguishing there. In the first place, we do not cause the fires. The fire service do not cause any fire, or we do not create any emergency. And therefore, if they will not support us when we need their support, they go and give our sister security all the support they need and leave us. And when the fire do occur, they tell us that our tenders are old, we came with little water and all that. If you cannot buy tender for us, when we come there, support us. Other than that, when you set your own fire and we come, we will not help you.
Don't say
yes,
that.
Enough is enough.
We'll continue the conversation. There's a message here. It's asking, is it mandatory to install smoke alarms on every level of your home, inside bedroom and outside sleeping areas?
That is highly recommendable because many a times these fires do occur at night when people are fast asleep. So if you have these smoke detectors in your bedroom, living hall, and other important places, it can alert you, sound an alarm. So even if you are asleep, it will wake you up. And then depending on the state of the smoke, you can crawl, you can locate your exit and escape. So very important. We recommend that every homeowner should get smoke alarm in his or her bedroom or living room.
That's so fine. And I want to ask, what's the #1 cause of fire in Ghana?
The #1 cause of fire is electrical fault. The way we use our electrical gadgets. That is what is rather killing us. So we need to be very cautious. Anytime we suspect that our wires are frayed, they are showing, our sockets are showing signs of discoloration, we should call on the competent, qualified, certified electrical contractors or installers or electricians to be able to get the correct quality materials to do the installations for us. If our homes or the installation electrical systems in our homes are beyond 30 years, the law requires that after every 10 years, we need to test our electrical installation. So if we test and they cannot stand the test of time, we need to do rewiring.
Okay.
There is no negotiation about that.
Okay.
And we should get competent people to do that.
We are running out of time, but I want you to touch a bit on fire extinguishers.
Right. So extinguishers are important. They are first aid appliances that are meant to be used when the fire has just started. If you wait for the fire to get out of hand, the extinguisher usage is meaningless.
Okay.
So you must get one, the multi-purpose in your home, and for your kitchen, the carbon dioxide, so that at any point in time, if you're cooking, you are frying something and it gets fire gets it, you can easily use it. And if you want to consume the food, you can do so with a carbon dioxide extinguisher.
Thank you so much.
But before I go, I think it is important for me to announce our emergency number.
Okay.
It is 112 or 192. We implore Ghanaians that as soon as you see the emergency, just call us. Call us early, because early call saves lives. Early calls ensures prompt response.
Exactly.
Because it is not everywhere that we are.
Yes.
So that once you call us on our right number, you get our response swiftly, and then we are able to get there to save your lives and property. Please do not engage yourself in unprofessional salvaging, because that takes a bit of time. It gives the fire room to escalate, and then you, at the end of the day, tend to blame us that we didn't come early, because you also failed to call us.
Exactly.
So for our hotline, it is 030-277-2446. 030-277-2446. If you call the emergency number 112, 192 and you don't get through because of prank call that I've talked about that you are going to change, call our hotline, which is 030-277-2446.
All right, Mr. Aka, thank you so much. It has been educative, and I want to recommend you to Ghanaians. You are to be trusted. You are doing so much. I commend you for everything you are doing. Please keep up the professional good work.
Thank you so much.
Lovely viewers, that's all our time for today. I hope you learned something. Stop pranking the Ghana National Fire Service, and please be safe out there. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Clog TV, Beyond the Policy.